Whoa. There is Oleksandr Usyk beating the shit out of someone that's claimed to be Andy Ruiz in the amateurs. And let me counterpunch. I had to do my research on that. The body style, it did appear like Andy Ruiz. That was definitely Oleksandr Usyk. I think that Usyk, I think that's a vintage Usyk in the amateurs, and I just wonder what Usyk would have done if he would have came out of the amateurs 4 years earlier than that. He would have been fighting guys like Luis Ortiz, probably one of the Klitschko's, probably a more dangerous Wilder, guys like that back in that day, because that was a while back. Now, to counterpunch, that was not Andy Ruiz. I had to do the research. It was not him. Okay, that was not Andy Ruiz. But if you look at the body style, the tattoos gave it away, by the way. The tattoos, because Andy Ruiz has had tattoos for a long time. He might not have had them back then, but that wasn't him. For one, Oleksandr Usyk didn't fight him in the amateurs. And if he did, I don't see the record of it. Okay, because I have been looking to see who he's lost to. He's lost to Joe Joyce. He's lost to Oscar Rivas. He's lost to, who else did he lose to? But they're claiming. So if anybody else, I don't know. The problem is I don't know who Usyk was beating the shit out of. Okay. And I've looked it up and I didn't see Usyk fight Andy Ruiz. You know, even though Andy is, 35 years old. Usyk is 38. So he did stay 4 years extra. So he would have ran into Andy in the amateurs, you know, and looking at how that fight was, that's pretty much how that fight would have probably took place. You know what I mean? Because Andy Ruiz is a guy that he's not mobile enough. He has fast hands and great upper body movement, but he's not fast enough to get out of the way of those rapid attacks. Those are flurries, and the shots that were coming, he was coming with different angles, and he was using the southpaw stance in a way that was difficult, because when Andy did try to throw, when Andy threw a shot, it was almost Usyk waited, because I call it Andy, but it's not Andy, whoever the challenger was, right? He waited for him to throw a shot, to time his shot, to throw 3 or 4 more shots. So for every shot that that guy tried to throw, if his name ain't Andy, he got nailed 3 or 4 times fold. And it was an absolute devastating demonstration of ass kicking. Okay, Usyk tore it into his ass like no tomorrow. Okay, so, you know, I don't, again, I've looked and I didn't see that Andy has lost to Oleksandr Usyk. But that's crazy if that's the case, because that was a dominant performance. And if that is true, people, I can see why that shit was shelved. Okay, that shit was shelved for a reason. People didn't want that to get out. We talk about amateurs all the time. We talk about Beterbiev versus Usyk. We talk about the time Sean Porter stopped Usyk in an amateur fight, because we heard about that shit, right? So we hear about these fights. A fight is a fight is a fight. And a lot of times, if we're wanting certain fights to happen, we have to see if they once upon a time crossed paths in the amateurs. So, you know, this is just interesting to see. But if you guys can give me more information, if this is Andy Ruiz, you guys let me know. Because if so, he whooped Andy's ass proper. He is very feel. He is very, very feel. But you guys tell me what you think about this footage that I have never seen before. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!